When you run a select query, it's useful to know how many results have been returned. If there are no results, you need to display a suitable message, or to hide part of the page, or both. Some databases, like MySQL, report the number of rows in a result set, but most don't. We'll look first at how to get the number if it's reported. Then we'll look at a technique that works in all databases. This is pdo_rowcount.php, which you can find in the chapter 2, 02_05 folder of the exercise files. The page has a select query, it executes it, and then the results are displayed in a table. The pdo_rowcount method returns the number of results in a result set if it's reported by the database. So let's go back up to the top. There is our result set there. So if we create a variable called numRows and then use the result object and call the rowCount method, that should give us the number of results if it's reported. And we can then display that value just before the table here. We'll put it in the end of the PHP block beginning on line 24. So if I save that page and then load it into a browser, there we've got total results found 0, but clearly we have got results. So the implication of that is that the database that I'm using doesn't report the number of results from a select query. Let's go to the editing program and open pdo_connect.php in the includes folder. The DSN that I'm using is for SQLite that doesn't report the number of results in a result set. So let's comment that line out and switch to MySQL. Save that and then refresh the browser. And this time we've got the correct number of results being reported. That's all well and fine if you're using MySQL or another database that does report the number of results, but it's not portable. We need to make this portable. So to do that, let's go back to the editing program and scroll up to the top here. Before running this select query, we need to run another select query to find out the number of results that we're going to get. So let's add another line. We can create this directly. We'll store the result as count, and then it's the database connection. Run the query method and we'll type the select query directly in there. It's select and then the count function followed by parentheses, and between those parentheses an asterisk. You must make sure that there is no space between count and the opening parenthesis. Then we need to get the table we're looking at. So it's from names. And we don't have any where clause, so this will just get us the total number of rows that we've got in the names table. Select count will produce only one result, so we can get that using the fetch column method. And we'll store that as numRows. So there is our count result, and we use the fetch column method. That gives us the number of results. We don't need it down here. So if we save that page and then refresh the browser, still using MySQL, we're still getting the correct number of results using that different method. Let's go back and see how it works with SQLite. So if we comment out the MySQL DSN and use SQLite, save, refresh the browser, we're now getting the correct number with both methods. So this is the portable way of doing it, to use select count. Now you've probably noticed that what is happening here is that we're running two select queries, but if numRows is 0, there is no point in running this second query. So we can wrap these lines here in a conditional statement. So if numRows, if there are any results, that will equate to true. If there are no results, it'll be 0, which equates to false. But if there are no results, then result won't exist, So to prevent any errors lower down, we need to have a conditional statement down here as well. So also if numRows, opening curly brace there, and we wrap the whole of the table that displays the results in that conditional statement. So the closing curly brace goes after the end of the table. So let's test that by adding a where clause. Scroll back up to the top. We need to add the where clause to both of our SQL statements. So the first one is where clause where name equals David. I know there is no David in the database. And then again where name equals David. And if we save that and refresh in the browser, this time we get total results found 0, which is correct. We also don't see the table. We don't see any error messages because result hasn't been found. So the portable way to find out the number of results in a results set is to run two queries. The first one running select count, and then the second one is the query getting the results that you actually want. In this example, I've used the query method and stored the result as result. An alternative way to do this is to use a for each loop. So basically here the SQL is written up here, and then a for each loop is used to run that down there. This is the same technique of looping over a select query directly with a for each loop as was described at the beginning of this chapter. It's just an alternative way of doing it. But in both cases, select count is used to find the number of results to expect. But if you're not interested in the actual number of results, but only want to know if there's at least one, there's no need to run two select queries, and we'll deal with that next.